How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be featuring the Burger, the legendary tier French battleship. The Burger, I don't know, it's like a love-hate relationship. Sometimes it performs really well, especially with the reload boost if you can catch things broadside, and then other times it makes it feel like the reload boost is making up for the lack of accuracy and damage most of the time. So, kind of tragic thing, to be honest, especially after all of the battleships have been getting buffed. Burger is slowly being left behind, sort of like the Yamato, but unlike the Yamato, you don't overmatch and have massive guns that actually smash things. You're more or less something that's going to rely on HE spam kiting. Not really something you want to be doing in a battleship most of the time. Obviously, low caliber guns for the tier, and unlike Colombo, you don't have nearly as many, and you don't have improved pen angles, which definitely saves the Colombo in terms of its damage. Obviously, Colombo did get nerfed, but it's still very good. And even though Colombo has a 1.6 Sigma, it's not European dispersion, which the Burger has. Colombo sits with normal battleship dispersion. So Burger kind of just lacks more often than not. Although we're doing a little different build because, well, we did try accuracy builds, but a lot of the time it doesn't feel like Burger hits nearly as hard as you want it to. So we decided to do a reload build with Megalomania instead of Marksman. And then we did two inspirations that buff the grouping or Sigma. Because at this point, we're just trying to throw as many shells downrange as we possibly can, and eventually something will hit, or in this case, sometimes nothing. It is what it is. Burger is sort of rather unreliable. Even though we're getting like pretty good salvos, I think that's just simply RNG blessing us because we buffed our Sigma, which increases the chances of your shells landing in the center of the ellipse. So we're just getting lucky here with some good salvos. Other times it's definitely going to be horrendous. Enemy Schlieffen just charging in our destroyer. I don't know what he thought he was doing, or if he thought it was a great idea. I mean, he literally tried to smoke up right in front of the Schlieffen for really no reason. Just a weird decision. Fortunately, though, our team was able to focus down the Schlieffen and our Yugumo didn't die. And now we're just going to start turning back in and start farming these Bowen chips. Would probably make a lot more sense to focus down the Conch, because Conch HE is a lot more scary than an Izumo. And if we can get rid of the Conch, well, that would just simply benefit us a lot more. Although I'm kind of hoping that our Yugumo can go and deal with some of these battleships, instead of, well, not going for the cap. I mean, at least do something. He probably could have went and got the cap, and in doing so, maybe torped the Izumo. But Izumo all of a sudden decided to start YOLOing in. I don't know if he really, I mean, there's the, there's where our RNG and Sigma value was just garbage. That dispersion was horrendous. But luckily, we have Megalomania, and we also have a epic reload mod, so we're getting a little faster reload as we progress. Izumo has fight fire with fire, unfortunately, so that saves him from basically being cooked to death. Yugumo going to the border. Izumo trying to turn away, but at this point he's gonna eat torps. But I was saying, Izumo decided to push in after the Schlieffen died. I feel like it might have been a little more beneficial if they all pushed in together rather than trying to push in one at a time. But it is what it is. Spotted by the Conch right now, I'm pretty sure. So we did get a salvo after we DCP'd. I wasn't really expecting to be spotted by the Conch over the island. It might have just been a very low point as we shot again and we're not spotted. So kind of unfortunate. Now we're eating a single permafire, but it's not the end of the world since it's only one. In this match I also have the damage control mod, which may or may not be a mistake to have especially when reversing at 20 knots is so useful, which is exactly what the conch is doing. Enemy Michelangelo gets spotted pushing in. Perhaps that's actually what I got spotted by and not the conch. But Michelangelo starting to push straight to our decap. Our decap's getting captured. So that's where the enemy destroyer is. Unfortunately, our destroyer is still out here on this flank. But at least now he finally decided to turn in. We get set on a triple fire. Unfortunately for us, fight fire with fire saves us. Kind of lucky, to be honest. I'm kind of hoping our team can keep spots on the conch, especially because he keeps DCPing the fires that we set. But unfortunately, going to the cap, they're not actually able to keep spots on the conch. I do want to finish him off as soon as we can, because the last thing I want is for him to keep reversing and use his super heals. And then there's really nothing we can do, especially because, well, we don't have nearly the same amount of damage output as the conch in terms of HE spam, and our AP is rather lackluster, even though we are using drill bits. Michelangelo, spotted broadside, decent looking salvo, although we only get one citadel. Not nearly enough to dev strike him. I don't think a accuracy build would have saved it either. And Michelangelo just chugs along. Enemy Yamato pushing into our other flank. At the beginning of the match, they were doing a pretty decent job of not charging into their destroyer, and they were sort of surviving and kiting, although now that the enemy team on this flank is dead, conch was reversing and the Yamato and Michelangelo, instead of helping this flank, they decided to start pushing towards the other flank. Those ships are starting to die off. Enemy Druid gets spotted. I mean, they really didn't have anything to worry about now that I realize it's Druid, because Druid has no torpedoes. All you really need to do is angle and you'll be fine. Minotaur starts using his sonar and is actually keeping Druid in range of his sonar and keeping him spotted. Kind of hoping whatever ships have a line of sight on him can finish him off. We're going to keep moving around this flank to try and keep an angle on him if he tries to run from Minotaur sonar, which he does. Dispersion, not the greatest. I could use a reload boost here, but I'm also trying to conserve and not waste it, just in case there's an opportunity that I need it later. Druid is on a permafire. He might possibly go down from it, but luckily friendlies take care of it, so we don't have to worry if he does survive. But now, conch's been unspotted for quite some time, and it's going to turn out that he's been reversing this whole time. No attempt to go forward, just reversing away, which is super unfortunate. Kind of wish our destroyer was able to push in and Druid didn't really stop him, because I think if he did, he would have at least kept the conch spotted for us to finish off, and, well, we wouldn't really have to worry about him. But unfortunately, since the Druid did stop our Yugumo, now everything is sort of falling apart. The enemy flank has been pushing in. They have a lot of ships from the other flank that's very healthy, which is also unfortunate because all they have been doing is running, not really trying to slow them down and farm them and kite. There's a difference between kiting and farming, slowing them down, versus just running away when you think you're outmatched. And unfortunately, our team did the latter. Enemy defense, keeping us spotted. I don't really want to get farmed by the conch. And just when we thought we did a lot of damage to conch, he pops a super heal and basically prints another ship. Defense was kiting away when we got spotted, so we leave range. I do have my engine boost active, so I'm trying to reverse at this point to not get farmed by conch, but also try to crossfire the enemies that are pushing in our spawn, because we're in a pretty good spot to crossfire. Although with engine boost, I mean, even with prop mod, because prop mod is bugged, when your engine boost is active, you won't actually reverse that fast. So I suppose it's not the end of the world that we don't have prop mod in this situation, where we're trying to reverse and get a crossfire going, because it's not like we would have actually been reversing at 20 knots, because prop mod actually makes you reverse at the correct speed, or not prop mod, engine boost makes you reverse at the correct speed when you have prop mod, which is just so weird. But it is what it is. We are finally getting around the corner where we can actually start cross-firing the enemy team. This is kind of where we want to be. I checked my range because they are basically on the edge, and sometimes your guns do lock in or lock on to a target, but you're not actually able to quite reach. We take a pot shot at the enemy Schroeder at max range, but unfortunately for us, he's actually paying attention, so he starts turning in, and our damage is minimal to him. Can't really overmatch his bow either, so if he angles to us, not really anything we can do. Enemy Schlieffen charging in towards our Marlboro. We still have a pretty decent spot, although he is slightly angled, and it is Burger, so I'm not thinking we're going to Citadel him ever. Just trying to do as much damage as we can, hopefully finish him off and allow our Marlboro to turn back in. Because if he keeps running away, I mean, we're down by so many points. We're going to need to kill everything in order to win. Fortunately for us, Defense and Conk did start pushing back in, but that Michelangelo has kited so far. He's now at the opposite end of the map, which is super unfortunate. If only Burger was good enough to dev strike things, maybe he wouldn't have kited so far. So right now, catching that Michelangelo is our biggest concern. Defense eats a bunch of torps. Dispersion looks pretty good for not having any sort of dispersion or accuracy buffs aside from aiming systems and all of our Sigma things. So I guess RNG is helping us in this match. Enemy Michelangelo so far out of our range. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to catch him. Enemy Schroeder is now charging towards our destroyer at B. I do want to try and finish this conk as quickly as we can, but our Yugumo is in the cap and it looks like he wants to torp the conk. So at this point, we're probably going to take one more shot at the conk. If we can finish him, great. If not, we basically pray that our Yugumo lands torps and finishes off the conk. And then in the meantime, maybe secondaries also shoot conk if we keep charging at him. But we need to slow down that Schroeder so our DD can cap and also hopefully not die to him, although our Yugumo does get caught, which is super unfortunate. Schroeder's AI gaming is definitely going to finish him off, or Conk's salvo, and our DD does end up going down. Really unfortunate. Definitely would have needed him alive to help spot the Michelangelo if he had a chance. And for us to even have a chance, it would have come down to us pretty much dev striking the Michelangelo. Or if he survived, maybe he cap C and can start flipping points a lot faster. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Marlboro was kiting for so long, and unfortunately he's so very far away. At this point, it's down to us to be able to finish off this Schroeder and catch the Michelangelo. Although there's so many islands, I doubt the Michelangelo is going to get spotted. He's also not shooting at us, so we really have no idea where he went. We're basically assuming that he decided to run away. Probably should have switched to HE at this point. I mean, we did get that one Citadel shooting under his front turret, but we didn't really have any sort of success after that. So we just target a superstructure and we do a decent amount of damage. At this point, Schroeder is definitely not going to finish us off. We still have our DCP, and Marlboro does help us out here. But we get spotted by the Michelangelo. We have no idea where he is. He could be directly in front of us, or he could be off to the right in the cap, basically where I'm looking right now. And well, unfortunately, we would definitely need our destroyer to spot him. We're staying spotted, so I start assuming he's in front of us because we haven't gone unspotted yet. And he's basically just running away. I'm not sure if his torps would reach if we're pushing towards him and he's kiting. It's possible, but I'm not sure. We go unspotted. We see shells coming in. So unfortunately, we know where Michelangelo is. He was at the cap, and I think if our DD was still alive, probably could have spotted him and actually caught him trying to turn away or turn broadside. And I mean, there would have been a chance to win. Unfortunately, this was going to be a very difficult one to bring back. The enemy flank was just way too healthy because our team ran and didn't try to slow them down whatsoever. And everything being so healthy, it just was too much for our burger to handle. Very unfortunate. Not sure what we could have really done differently. I think if we charged at the defense kiting and the conch, we probably would have just ended up dying, getting farmed, and the game would have ended quicker. I think we did the right thing and tried to crossfire the weak flank, but still, unfortunately, ended in a 2k loss in the burger. Super tragic. It is what it is. Can't win them all. All we can do is what we've done and tried the best we could. Very Jedi inspirational. But yeah, burger. I think this is sort of a build that also reflects our, I guess, ideology with Hoshino on our Ohio now. Although, obviously, with Ohio, you have plotting room, so you do get accuracy as you go, versus this, where you get reload as you go. I don't know. I wonder if Ohio, because it does have a super high Sigma, like, what would happen if we just did full reload Ohio and just basically had a similar build, relied on our Sigma to save the accuracy of the ship? I mean, Burger has European dispersion, which is pretty bad, and a lot of our salvos looked pretty good. So even higher Sigma and a super fast reload. Now my gears are turning. Also, I had drill bits, mainly because turret traverse is so bad. And I mean, I don't know if using frontal fire would have made really any sort of difference, because I don't think there was any situation where we needed to switch in this match, because we were basically firing every time because of our reload being a lot faster than usual. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more, and share it with your friends, or leave a comment down below for other ships you want to see in the future. But anyway, till next time, aloha.